Hello everyone, and welcome back to more Silent Hill 3. If you still need help understanding what's going on, the game is going to explain it to you again, with more plot.
I just met some guy named Vincent.
Vincent?
He's a friend of yours, right?
I'm not sure.
He said when we get to Silent Hill to look for a guy named Leonard, and he gave me this map. What do you want to do?
We can't trust him, but we've got no other choice.
Here, take this too.
What's this?
Your father was holding it. Started raining. Are you sleeping?
I'm awake.
You cold? What's the deal with Silent Hill anyway? It used to be a nice, quiet little town. But now,
You've been there?
once, on a missing persons case. Never did find him. But I'll tell you, that's one screwed up town. My line of work, you hear a lot of nasty rumors.
I was born and raised there.
Sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
No offense taken.
Anyway, I thought you grew up in Portland. What's wrong? Feeling sick?
My head's pounding like the worst hangover ever.
Maybe you're car sick.
No. I'm just trying to remember. My childhood. Something terrible happened in Silent Hill 17 years ago. A woman named Dahlia. She tried to summon the ancient god of the town. She offered up her very own daughter.
That's crazy.
Maybe so, but it worked. The girl gave birth to a god. You see, that girl had special powers.
Powers?
Her classmates called her a witch. She could make things happen with her mind. She could kill people just by wishing for it. But in the end, that god was killed by a single person. My father, Harry Mason. I guess it wasn't much of a god if it could be killed by a human being. But I think Claudia's trying to do the same thing again. And I've been chosen as the sacrifice.
You've got some kind of power in you too?
After the god was killed, the girl reappeared. She was holding a baby in her arms. Before she died, she gave the baby to my father. loved me just like I was his very own daughter. Even though he didn't know who or what I was. It was so sudden. I never had a chance to tell you how happy you made me.
I'm gonna head for that Leonard guy's house. You check out the hospital. You got the map, right?
Yeah,
You gonna be okay alone?
I'm not a child, you know. Are you sure it's not you who's afraid to be alone?
You're right. I am afraid. I'm 50-something years old. I ain't never seen nothing like this. I still feel like I'm dreaming.
More like a nightmare, I'd say.
Yeah. I want to wake up and have a smoke already. Meet me back here when you're finished looking around the hospital. Okay?
Roger.
Most of that cutscene, I assume, was basically the developer's way of making sure the player understands the story at this point. I don't think I actually show off the journal that we pick up in that cutscene, unfortunately. I might have to reload a save and record that for a future video. I probably won't, but I might do that. And there's a save point if you want to use it. I know I've already talked about it before, but I absolutely adore the voice actress who plays Heather. And for a 2003 game, the voice acting, I think, is fantastic. Definite upgrade over the first two. Even though I think in 2, they had their really good moments. The first game, not so much. Except I did really like the voice actress for the nurse, Lisa. And even though he was a bit wooden, I can't imagine another voice actor for Harry. And as you can see, this map should look familiar. This is part of the town that we were in Silent Hill 2. Although it seems a lot more foggy now. I found this a lot harder to see and navigate my way around. Even though I knew where I was going, if you can't see, that makes things obviously a lot more difficult. Hey, look at that. Pete's Bolorama. And that Texon gas station. I remember Pete's Bolorama. Maria refused to bowl. Cunt. And we started in Jack's Inn, which we passed by in the second game, obviously. Oh god, those things. I can't do anything about the constant checking of the map because, again, I can't see where I'm going. I like the fog in the first 2 games, but they went a bit excessive here. So you'll just have to deal with this. I tried this a few times. Even I'm getting annoyed by this too. But I had no choice when I was playing this. And this was the best run I could get going where we need to go. So we are headed towards the hospital that we went to in Silent Hill 2. And there's Heaven's Night. I remember Heaven's Night, the strip club. James likes strip clubs. though he's not in this game. We're gonna go there anyways. As soon as I can find my way around here. I don't mind this area being in the game. It's nice to revisit some areas. I think in 2 we should have seen parts of Silent Hill 1 as well, just for continuity. Although my understanding is that game took place in a different part of the town, which I'm okay with. This is just an extra area in this game. We had to pass through here in 2 in order to progress. And in here, there's just some items you can pick up, which I've talked about before, you definitely want to do. Really on any difficulty. There's a pamphlet talking about Silent Hill. There's also a reference to a dancer named Maria, who has long black hair, I believe, which is interesting, considering Maria was a thing. Kind of makes me wonder if that was part of what inspired her in James's mind when he created her. A combination of the stripper / his dead wife. But that's all speculation on my part. I don't know. Nor do I pretend to. There we go. The more items, the better. Unfortunately, we're not really going to get any new areas in Silent Hill. This is our only time to walk around in this foggy area. This and walking back to the hotel, which we will do probably next video. I think the video after that. Fortunately here, we should be able to just walk straight and get there. If I don't run into stuff. I really wish we got more of the town, some new areas. Would have been really nice. But that is a hard thing to do with a game series that's centered around a town. There's only so much you can do with that town. Reusing areas and putting in new areas to keep it interesting, which is more of why I think this should have been the last game. And unfortunately, this is not a side area. This is the next dungeon, which I'm not really a big fan of. Hey! There weren't enemies in this area in Silent Hill 2? The hell, game? What the hell? Nurses, know your place. Get back to the patient hallways and rooms like you're supposed to be. There's another nurse in here somewhere. Don't know where she is. I don't remember if we take her out or not. It definitely feels like a cost-cutting measure, which I don't care for. I wish we were exploring something new. If we had to have a dungeon, why couldn't we get the mansion from Born from a Wish? At least that would have been new to the main games. As for the longest time, I never planned on playing that game. I still haven't played it from my perspective right now, although I do plan on doing that and posting that before this. And here's some information, I believe, on Leonard. He's a patient here. I'm not sure if this is a new room or one we went in during Silent Hill 2. I guess that's a few different patients. If I haven't said it before, I am visually impaired, blind, whatever you want to call it. So that's why I haven't been reading any of those. And thankfully, we haven't been getting that many files in this game. Well, it's around here somewhere. And some of those nurses have guns, so be aware of that. And this is the first of several files from this dude named Stanley. He somehow knows who Heather is and is obsessed with her. Pretty strange. And he offers her this doll. And keeps offering her dolls just like it with each of these books that we find. And he will get angrier and angrier as we go. As he assumes she's rejecting his affections, which of course she's not going to accept his affections. I like her reaction there. Pretty funny. Heather has some pretty good reactions to things. She's honestly one of my favorite game characters. Although now that we have the big reveal... Okay, Nurse not seeming to want to do anything, so we'll just go in the save room. Now that we had the big reveal, I don't know why we don't get access to her powers. That would be nice, but it wouldn't be very survival horror, I suppose. That would be an interesting twist on the survival horror format. Instead of guns and melee weapons, using magical powers as your combat and puzzle-solving mechanics. And there's a health drink. Very nice. So now I'm going to save the game here and end the video. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see y'all next time as we explore this dungeon we already explored in Silent Hill 2. Instead of ending the video, I decided to reload a save, and I'm going to go ahead and show off Harry's journal and read it as best I can. I hope this never comes to any use. Maybe it's better if you never know. More than anything else, I fear the possibilities of you going farther away from me. But sometimes we have to tell the truth. That's why I'm writing this before I'm gone. What happened back then, that has something to do with who you are. It all started 24 years ago, coming back from a vacation. My wife and I found a baby on the side of the highway. Since we were childless, we thanked God for allowing us to meet this child. This girl. We took her home, and hopefully adopted her through the proper legal means. 3 years later, my wife died. 4 years later, 17 years ago, I came to Silent Hill. I heard the girl's pleas and took her with me to Silent Hill, not knowing why she wanted to go. And it was there that the girl went away. Not that she went anywhere, nor did she die. Returned to her original self. That's what Dahlia Gillespie said. Crazy bitch. Original self. That was the young woman burned by her mother as a sacrifice to God. Alessa Gillespie. Poor girl. Half the soul escaped the burning and went on to live in a baby. That girl of mine. Of ours. Cheryl. 7 years passed since that half a girl returned to Silent Hill to make Alessa whole again. Thinking of Nicole from Dead Space. Make us whole again? Newly strengthened, she vowed to kill God? This must be referencing those seals she was putting around Silent Hill in the first game. Although I thought that was to keep the evil from spreading. God, a fetus in this young girl's womb was summoned by the usual rites. Wasn't aware there was a set of usual rites for something like this, but okay. This was Alessa's wish, no matter what the outcome, even if her own existence was at stake. But that wish was not granted. My interruption meant that she prayed for the girl's return instead. I also couldn't bring her back. Again, don't remember any of this from the first game, and I played it not that long ago. Dahlia did it. I helped a little at the end. I only helped to bring the god out of Alessa. The newly born god wailed once and was dead. All from that girl's and probably Alessa's conscious resistance. And the rifle rounds we fired into it. After God vanished in a glowing light, Alessa appeared with the baby. She looked a lot like that girl from so long ago. And then Alessa died. There was nothing I could have done to help. I simply held the baby as awkwardly as possible and ran off. The whole thing felt like a dream, but I had proof that it wasn't. The girl was nowhere to be found. And in my arms, the baby. Now 17 years have passed. It only feels like yesterday, and yet it also feels like a million years ago. I had reservations about raising that baby. Could I love her? Her existence was thoroughly unexplainable. I thought she could be that young woman that snatched away my beloved daughter Cheryl. That led to sadness and anger. There were times I put my hands around her tiny little throat. Several times. I even considered abandoning her. That's what a horrible person I am. But I decided to raise her after all. I just couldn't seem to let her go. When you look at me, you laugh so. Even now, I can't forget about that girl. But I love you. I have no doubt about that. That's all I ask you to believe. To my precious daughter, Harry Mason. That file raises some questions, but for the most part it seems to give some pretty good insight into Harry's character and what he was thinking after the events of the first game, going into the events of this game, during those 17 years when he was raising Heather. Now for real, thanks for watching, and I will see y'all next time with more Silent Hill 3.